Alright guys, so this is the chassis kit that I'm going to be putting on eBay today. This is what it includes. It's going to have both your side plates for your Sumo crawler. It's going to include both top plates. That's the hood and that's the, I guess, the top. It's going to have the decals. These are the black decals for you to put on them. That line right there is not the actual size, that's just for reference so you know which one you're going to be using it on. Once you tape it on, make sure there's no bubbles in it, and then you can use a razor to cut the edge so it's a perfect fit. Same thing on those. I'm also going to be including the top links. They're threaded rods. They are cut to be the exact length that you need for the setup that I run. You could always change it around if you like, but to be honest with you guys, I don't think you're going to get any much better than what I've already done with all the testing I've done. I'm also going to be including the large motor, the long one. If you guys haven't done the upgrade yet, we will be including one of these in there. They're not used. I did put solder on the tips so that I could put the cables in them, but I never got to doing that. I took the pinion out just to kind of save you guys from ruining your transmission, because the pinions that came with these are not the same number of teeth that you guys have on your transmissions. I want you guys to take the pinion off of the one that you guys have on the transmission, the small motor, and put it on this one. It's a perfect size, perfect fit. It goes into your little gearbox and then into your Sumo, and you're good to go. For this kit, you're going to have to use a LiPo. I'm including a 180 milliamp hour LiPo because it's the easiest one I found out that you could fit on this chassis because of its size. I'll show you guys what it looks like when you put it in. You could put it either on the bottom like I've done here, fits right there. You could put it on the side of the transfer case. I'm not doing it now because I did a transmission mod and I have that big gear in the middle, and I kind of feel that, you know, having that gear there rubbing up against my battery is not a good idea. So I'm not doing it because of that. I put it on the top, but you guys don't really have to do that. It'll fit nicely on the side. If you guys want to use anything bigger than that, you could always use 2mm washers in between the chassis plate and the center plate to widen everything up. That's why I went with this single side plate design, because by the simple use of washers you can actually widen the whole chassis, leaving room for bigger and bigger batteries. So, you know, sky's the limit. You can put as big a battery as you want, as long as you don't go too wide that your shocks start facing outwards instead of in. You want them to be facing in, or, you know, if not, it's not gonna work correctly. Little hints for this chassis. I'm including the tops. These are made out of Lexan 0.030 size. They're soft, but not extremely soft like the 0.020. I went with this one because it'll take a lot more abuse than that 2.0 one. But one side effect to that is, of course, it's slightly stiffer. I mean, it's not something that you're gonna be like, oh my god, it's super stiff, but it is a little bit stiffer than the 0.02. So it's going to be a little trickier to glue onto your chassis if you decide to go ahead and glue it. You could always hold it with zip ties if that's what you want. I like to glue mine because it gives me a better, you know, looking crawler. It's just clean. Little tips: plastic on plastic, hard to glue. You need a special kind of glue, or you get some of that, you know, what you call it, super glue. When you tape this onto that, you have to hold it in place until the glue sets. If you move it around, it's not going to set, it's just going to come out right out, because the plastic actually melts slightly with super glue. If you lose something else, it might be different. I've always used super glue, so maybe that's why I'm having the issue. Another little tip: before using those tops made out of Lexan, I recommend that you use something like business cards. They're made out of paper pretty much, and they're easier to glue onto. And until you get the right setup, you know, where you want to put your battery, where you want to put your ESC, where you want to do everything, you might as well just use business cards because they're easy to glue on and easy to take out. You will be taking that top out very often to be able to, tweak your ride. When you get it right, then you can, put those on. But until then, use business cards. They're cheap, get them anywhere. Another thing you can use is the business cards that are made out of that magnetic kind of stuff. This one is obviously going to be a lot stronger. It's going to take a lot more abuse, and they're very flexible, so you can use that as well. These are just not as easy to come by. Another thing for this chassis, you're going to want to cut this metal plate that you have on top of your transmission. You want to cut it right in front of the last set of screws that hold onto the transmission, because if not, it's going to stick out the front of the chassis. Another thing, for this chassis plates that I'm selling, I did not drill this top hole right here. That is the top hole that holds onto the brace, that holds onto that metal piece on the top. The reason I did not do that is because I realized that when you put the ESC on one side and the battery on the other, you have no use for that hole in there. It's everything's being held in place by the battery and the ESC, so the chassis will not flex, the tranny will not flex, nothing will move in there. As a matter of fact, you don't even need the top holes to hold on to it, because the 4 that are on the bottom are enough to hold on to the whole thing. But if you feel that you don't feel safe having it like that, you're more than welcome to drill that hole right there. It's just I felt that it wouldn't look good on the chassis. I'm pretty sure you guys are not going to use it, so I didn't drill it in there. It'll be real easy for me to drill it, but I decided to go this way because I don't want you guys to have that little hole in there. Reason for that is when you decide not to use it, the decal that you put on top is going to have a bubble on that hole if I had drilled it. It's just not going to look good. This one's all beat up because, I've been abusing it. But I don't think you guys want that bubble in there. The decals, like I said, they're black. I don't have any colors as of right now, but I'm going to get some more. If you guys want different colors for the next few sets that I make. The next few sets are not going to include the motor and the battery. Because obviously this is like the first 2. This is like breaking the ice. I want to get whoever buys these 2 first ones the whole package, just for being my first customers, I guess. The other kits are just going to be the chassis and the links. Reason for that is I'm not making anything out of this one. I'm setting the base price for this one at $35, so you guys can bid on it if you like, see how high it'll go, but quite honestly, at $35, you're not going to find any of the chassis out there. And to be honest, you're not going to find anything for the Sumo out there. I'm the only guy that's offering Sumo chassis out there. It's actually specifically designed for the Sumo. It's not a Losi microcrawler chassis that's been converted into a Sumo. It is a chassis designed from the grounds up for the Sumo crawler. And I have the videos to prove it. You guys can check it out. It works really well. You guys don't have to go with droop setup if you don't like. It works perfectly well if you don't do the droop setup. That's how much movement you're going to get out of it. If you get the springs in there, that's how high you will sit. You will be able to clear anything, but you don't have to. If you want to go with the droop setup, you have the beauty of all the articulation in the world. Another thing, the chassis, as you guys have noticed on my other videos, I do not cut the windows on it. There's several reasons for that. The most important one for me, when I build my chassis, I want to make them perform well. This little bit of weight that you'll be able to cut out of there is not going to make a difference in the way it rides. Trust me, it won't. There's hardly no weight at all in there. If you cut those holes, you will start getting snagged in rocks and limbs and everything. It's just going to get caught on anything because it's just going to be a big old hole in there. Plus, you're going to be hitting your ESC and your battery with stuff, so you really don't want to do that. You want your stuff, your electronics, to be safe in there. Another reason why I don't cut the holes in there for the windows is that I make use of decals. The decals that you put in there, you can put in and take out as many times as you want. You can change the look of your Sumo crawler, give it different windows, give it different setups. I mean, you can make it look like a tuber. You can do whatever you want by just cutting the decals in that shape. That makes your Sumo extremely, easy to change. I mean, you don't get stuck with a single design like you will get with other chassis that people sell. Well, not people, companies. They pretty much design the chassis they want you guys to use, and that's what you get. Me, on the other hand, I leave it to you guys to do whatever design you want to do. So I hope it doesn't come to bite me in the butt. But I think that's the best way to do it. The customer has the right to make whatever design they want to do. Your Sumo should be designed to your likes and your needs. So that's why I do that. You guys are more than welcome to cut the holes in there once you get the design that you like and you feel comfortable with, but I'm not going to make the decision as to what you guys are going to be writing on the competitions. Pretty much this is what it is. That's how it's going to go on online. If you guys, for whatever reason, don't like this design, you don't want to bid on it because, hey, that's just not my style, I am always open for feedback. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you guys need. I'll get to work on it. If any kind of changes you want, let me know. I'll make it happen. I've even given you guys a little bit of room for changes on your setup. On the chassis plates themselves, you have 3 holes for the shock absorbers. The holes for your upper links, they are not perfectly even. There's a reason for that. Please don't mess with those. I have worked and worked and worked on these chassis to make sure that those links are in the perfect position. So they are not even, these two. The top link holes, they are not even. They're not meant to be even. It's not, bad design. It's not me being sloppy cutting the part. It's actually a reason for those to be there. These 3 shocks, the innermost hole is the one that I use. But if you don't want to use those, you have 3 options. This one in the front of the chassis itself, the innermost one where I use my shocks in, you will have to bend that little rod that goes from one side of the chassis to the other to clear the motor. If you don't want to do that, you could always move it to any of these holes. Other than that, this thing is a drop-in chassis. I'll be running it kind of clear from now on because I like the way it looks. You can see all the internals. It's kind of cool. But you guys can do whatever kind of color you want or scheme or whatever. Like I said, open to feedback. Let me know what you guys think. I'll try to make a bunch more of these, but like I said, I make these on my own. I don't have a CNC machine. This is all router and Dremel cut, and those links I cut them myself. I even out the edges and everything so that it can go into your rod ends perfectly. All of this is handmade. Like I said, I'm not making any profit on this, not on these, at least not with all this stuff. I'm just doing it so that you guys can have something, because nobody else is offering it out there. So feedback, please. Thank you. All right, there you go.